11.6, which is surface area and volume of spheres, I am recording. But in order to work with that, you need to know a couple new buttons on your calculator. So whatever calculator you're going to use, I'll give you a second to find it. If you're using Desmos, which some of you do, I'll show on that one as well. If you have any other calculator, like Preston, I can see you have a TI-30 something, you'll find it. I just don't know where. So you'll just have to take a look. So the two new buttons we're going to be using are the cubing button. And there's a couple ways you can do that. The easiest way on the TI-80 to do any power except the squaring, because it has its own key over here on the left, is just to use the caret key. So I would just do 5 to the third. And I think that's the same on the TI-30s. Okay, bless you. On the Desmos, it'd be 5, and then you have to hit this guy, the A to the B button, and then the third. So that one's not a particularly big issue, but you're also going to have to undo cubing. So like to undo squaring, you do a square root. To undo cubing, you do a cubed root. So 5 cubed is 125. It means the cubed root of 125 is 5. And to work your calculator backwards, on these TI ones, you hit the math button over here, and you'll see the fourth one down has a cubed root option, so you'll have to go in there. You're going to be finding a radius, and it's going to involve you needing to take a cubed root. So if I hit enter, and if I put a 125 in there, it'll undo the cubing, and it'll spit back a 5. Okay, on the Desmos that you guys are using, your cubed root would be, so I'm going to go to another line here. It would be this button right here where it has the little N. I know Logan uses it, Murph, you use Desmos. I don't know who else does, but you would have to, I don't know if you hit this button first. Yep, you hit that button, you put the root you're taking, and then under the root you do 125. So make sure you can take a cubed root of 125 and get a 5 on whatever calculator you've got. So I'm going to give you a minute. And for the TI-30, where we found it was you have a little caret key like we do on the TI-80s, but yours is the 5th down on the left. And so that's how you will raise something to the third power, because you'll need to do that. Above that button, it had a little X root, and you have to hit the 3 first, and then second, and then your little caret key. All right, so that's for the TI-30. So we should be good to go on our calculators. I'm just going to put that down until I need it. And it will be at the end of the lesson when we're undoing stuff. So go ahead and open your notes to page, is it like 19 in there? Go to page 18, thank you, dear. And we're going to be finding the surface area. The surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. I forgot to run the video, so you'll have to catch up if you're watching this at home. All you need is the radius. It might be hidden with the diameter. So in this one, we used a radius of 5. We just plugged it in for the r, and we left pi in our answer, and they are currently working on the second one over there. And it says leave your answer in terms of pi. So if you are absent and watching these, you should try this one on your own. All right, so run it through. Let's see what we're getting. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it, Preston? It's the easiest formula. So I'll go throw this one up really quickly. Our surface area, we do 4 times pi times the radius, and we square it. And when it says in terms of pi, we write it down, and we do the rest of it in our head or on a calculator. What's 4 times 49? What'd you guys get? What is it? Help me out. I know. 196. Thank you so much. 196. I know it's awkward when I'm recording. I don't do it very often, but 196 pi is just squared. Any questions on surface area? Because it's very straightforward. You might be asked to work backwards, though. So I'm going to take this one, and I want you to draw a line. You will be asked. If I told you the surface area was 196 pi of a sphere, and then I asked you to find the radius, we need to know how to work backwards with the formula and on our calculator. So we're going to work backwards, and we better get a 7, right? Because we just worked forwards. it always starts the same way. You go ahead and write your formula down, surface area of a sphere. And then you're going to go and take and plug what you're given in. On this one, I was given the 196 pi as the surface area. So that gets to go in. And the radius is what I'm looking for. So if you had to work backwards, Zach, what's going to happen to the pi's? Like if I'm trying to solve for r, what's going to happen to these two pi's on both sides? They're going to cancel when I divide by pi. So go ahead and just cross them off. And then to get rid of the 4, you would divide by 4, right? And if you did that on your calculator, you would get a 49 is equal to r squared. And just like with the Pythagorean theorem, when we undo a square, you need a square root. So all you would do is say the square root of 49 is equal to r, and that walks us right back. So you need to know how to work forwards and backwards. Any questions on that, Bjorn? Are you good to go? Pretty straightforward. You can go down chapter at it. So let's go to the next one. It says the Earth's equator. Do you guys have this one? It looks like somebody typed this in. Yep, there it is. You guys do have it. The Earth's equator. So if you know what I'm going to draw this. Here's the Earth, kind of a spherical. The equator is what we call the Great Circle, where it goes all the way around the Earth at its thickest part. And it says, what is the approximate surface area of the Earth? So you're going to go like this. Your surface area equals 4 pi r squared. But you weren't given the r, so go point at that little question mark on there. All right? So you weren't given the r, and we're going to have to find it. All right? So we said at the beginning of class that this guy's circumference, so go point at it, is 2 times pi times r. It's from another chapter where we did circumference of a circle. So we're going to go over here. And it tells us the distance around is 24,000. I did not know that. That's a lot of miles. 24,902 miles had to equal the circumference of the Earth. And you're going to go figure out what this r is. So I'll just pick on 2 of you. Alex, if I wanted to figure out what this r is, how would I get rid of the pi that's in front of it? Yeah, so you're going to go to your calculator and do 24,902 divided by pi. And that will walk us to our answer. Let's round. It says to round to the nearest thousandth, but I'm fine going to the tenths. So if you do 24,902 divided by pi, we get 7,926.6. Let's do 7,926.6 is equal to twice the radius. And then, how do I get rid of the doubling? How do I get rid of the 2? She's going to divide by 2, so go to your calculator and divide by 2. It's going to be 3,000 something. Let's do this. 3,963.3. 3,963.3 is equal to our radius. Thank you, my dear. So now once you have that radius and we draw an arrow, we can undo this question mark because we found it. So we're working backwards. We know the distance around the Earth, which is the circumference. So we go to our calculator, find the r, and so now it's going to be a lot. If you think about it, it's the surface area of our planet. So it's going to be a lot of miles. It's going to be 4 pi, and then you're going to put that radius in. 3,963.3, then we have to square it. Your calculators might go into scientific notation. I'm not sure. When they get so big, it did not. Can I steal this? It is. A lot. I'm going to go like this. 197289772.9. Boom, boom. So 197 million, close to 200 million square miles. That's a lot to cover the surface of the Earth. All right? I'm going to have you do a far easier one. Just make sure you can work backwards. So if you guys can go ahead and do this next one, I'm going to pause. Just I got to remember to. So for this one, we set 18 equal to 2 pi r. And they found an r to equal 2.9. And we're just plugging it in right here. And what did I say we got? 105.7. That's to the nearest tenth, which I think they meant. So I'm just going to leave that. Because to the nearest 10, you bump that up to 110 square inches, but that's a big round. So I'm going to override that in the notes. All right, next up is the volume. And this is where I said on your calculator you'll need to practice that cubing. So let's just make sure that all of you've got that down. Do this on your calculator, 6 to the third. Whatever calculator you have, it's the caret key. You just have to find it. On the TI-80s, it's right below the clear. On the TI-30s, you have to use the caret key. It's like fifth down on the left. So you hit the 6, then you hit that little caret key. That's fifth down on the left. So hit 6, caret key, whatever calculator you have. Logan and Murph, you guys like to use decimals, so you use that A to the B button. All right, what do you get? 216. All right, so just make sure you can work your calculator. Go to your note card and go ahead and write this down for the volume of a sphere. It is 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So again, you need that R. It's given to you great. If they give you the diameter, cut it in half. If they give you other information, you find it. So it's just all dependent upon that R. So I'm going to give you a second to go to your note card. Write it in your notes, and on your note card, it will be the bottom right. Looks like we've got this all filled up. Again, there's no lateral area this year. You can just put an X on that. Lateral is adding up all the sides, and spheres don't have sides. All right, so let's go over here. It says, what is the volume in terms of pi? Let's do that for this one. And then to the nearest tenth over here. Let's not do both for both of them. So we're going to write the formula down as we always do. 4 divided by 3 times pi times the radius, and I'll need to cube it. And on this one, they actually give you the radius. So no worries. I'll just do 4/3 times pi times 6 cubed. Just plug it in. Then on your calculator, you do everything except the pi. So to do 4/3, just do 4 divided by 3 times, and then the 6, and then the cube. And don't enter the pi on your calculator again when it says in terms of pi. So 4 divided by 3 times 6, and then do your to the third power. I'll give you time to run that through your calculator because I'm not going to do a bunch of them. You guys down here are ahead of me. So whatever calculator you have, figure it out. If you can't, ask me during the homework time, and I'll find those buttons for you. But 4 divided by 3 times 6 cubed. What did you have, Parker? You got an 18? That doesn't seem big enough. What's in? You had a bigger number in front of the pi.
48.
48. 4 divided by 3 times 288. Do I have any backers on a 288? Try it. I'm going to have you again try that on your calculator. Because you got a 288.
I did it wrong, actually, but 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. We're doing the cubing now.
Yeah.
We haven't done that yet this year. So that's why I'm really giving you time to run that through your calculator. So that one's done. That's what we do when it says in terms of pi. This one, radius sort of hidden on you. Just cut that 10 in half. And then on this one, when we go do our 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed, on this one, because it says to the nearest tenths, run the pi through your calculator. And make sure you're running it. I see you guys are all. Thank you. Because the calculator is probably the biggest issue for spheres. So 4 divided by 3, then times pi. You all have a pi button somewhere. Where's your pi button? Do you remember? Oh, on these, she's got it straight up right on her keyboard. The pink ones, where is this? Oh, straight up right on the keyboard. Decimals, you guys know where to find it. And on these, is it straight up on the keyboard or is it a second? You have to hit second to caret key, so a little more work on the high-powered calculator. All right, so run the whole thing through your calculator. 4 divided by 3 times the pi button, don't use 3.14, times 5, and then make sure you raise it to the third. And I'm going to give you a minute to run that through your calculator. And this one says round to the tenths. And these two up front both got the same answer, but make sure you can get this. If not, ask me during the work time. 423.6. Did they have it right? Just to make sure that, yes, thank you. And then this would obviously be labeled as meters cubed. I guess I forgot to label this one over here. So last up is kind of the hardest. So that you're going to have to, we don't need to do the third one of those. I'm going to put a star by this. And this is where you're going to have to really work your calculator. So I'm going to do it nice and slow and just one of them. The question is, what is the surface area of a sphere? Not the volume, but the surface area. So you're going to write that formula down, like we always do. Whatever you're trying to find, you go find that formula. And the surface area was 4 pi r squared. Then you look for the r, right? And they're not giving it to you. So you go crap. And they didn't give you the diameter, so you can't just cut it in half. So you go double crap. And they didn't give you the surface area, so you can the circumference, so you can just do that divide by 2. They actually gave you the volume, which is the worst case scenario. So you're going to go over here, and you're going to say, well, they told me the volume, right? And volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. This is why at the beginning of the hour I said we're going to have to really watch our calculators. They told me that volume was 5,000. And somehow you need to unwrap this to get at the r. And it's all done on your calculator. So I'm going to just go really slow. All right. Here's what you need to do on your calculator. Are you ready? Enter the 5,000. Okay. And first thing we're going to do is get rid of 4/3. You could say, well, divide by 4/3. I say, yeah, but it's easier to get rid of a fraction instead of dividing by it. What were you told? Multiply by the what? Reciprocal. Thank you. So what you're going to do is take that 5,000 and you're going to multiply it by the reciprocal. It'll get rid of this. And just let that sit on your calculator. So just go 5,000 times 3/4 equals. And you'll be sitting there with a number on your calculator. We good so far? The next thing we need to do is get rid of multiplying by pi. So we're going to need to divide by pi. So whatever you got over here, you're going to divide it by pi. On the TI-84s, it just runs that answer. I think Decimals does too. So you're going to do 3/4 times 5,000 equals. And then you're going to hit divide by pi equals. And let's make sure we all have the same numbers in there. So I'm going to watch Kylie here. She's going to do 3/4 times 5,000. And so well, 3 divided by 4. What's your calculator done? So you're going to go over to here. 5,000 times 3/4, we got a 3,750, correct? We're going to take that number and divide it by pi. And are you guys sitting with a 1,193.7? All right, 1,000, I'm going to write that down. 1,193.7. That's equal to r cubed. So before we're done, we have to go back to what I told you at the beginning of the class. And some of you were late. So I told them they're going to have to know how to work their calculator to undo cubing. It's called a cubed root. To undo squaring, you square root. To undo cubing, you do a cubed root. So I'm going to hop on my calculator here. And I'm going to remind you how to do that. On the TI-80s, it's under math. Okay, so we'll do that first. You hit your math button. And you go down to the fourth option, fourth option, and then you type that number in. And I forgot what it was. Can you guys remind me? I just wrote it. 1,000 what? Thank you so much. 1193.7. So that's, half of you have this kind of calculator. You need to hit the math button to get there. Okay, 10.6. The TI-30 people. Okay. That caret key, I can't show you it because I don't have a digital TI-30. So what you do is above that caret key, it's got that X in a root. You have to hit the 3 first to tell your calculator that that X is a 3 for a cubed root. So when I'm stealing Carly's calculator, she hits the 3 and then she has to hit second and then the caret key and type that number in. Can I check on this one? The pink one's the same thing. Did you figure it out on this one? Did you? And you have a Casio. I'll have to look at that one. All right. So know how to work your calculator. I will help those of you who need calculator help during homework. We all are working on different calculators. So I'm going to be done. I'm going to hit pause.